Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Desi Dialogues by your very own Desi psychologist Chetna and Tara.
Where we talk about the most raw, unfiltered conversations around mental health, therapy, and pop culture in India.
बोलना तू बोलेगी ना go ahead fulfill your dream.
अच्छा
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel.
hype me up. And I think let's go and get into the podcast.
Yay! It feels nice to say this. So we have a special episode today. It is a rapid fire FAQ session where me and Chetna brought in 5 questions each. So we came in prepared. तो हम एक दूसरे से ये 5 सवाल पूछेंगे जो बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट हैं। अगर आप थेरेपी लेना चाह रहे हैं या आप एक थेरेपिस्ट है, सो ये फ्रीक्वेंटली जो दिमाग में क्वेश्चंस चलते हैं, हम लोगों ने बैठ के सोचे कि we'll be asking each other these questions. So this is the episode for today.
I think without wasting or taking any more time, let's just get into the podcast. So I have my questions prepared. She has my questions prepared, and the trick is we have to answer it very quickly.
Okay. Yes,
All right.
got it.
So who's going
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So as therapist, tell me one thing, that does therapist have any favorite client or an ideal client? कि okay, ये मेरा favorite है.
So, according to like the ethical boards, we have to treat each and every client equally. But there are certain clients where तुम उनके साथ ज़्यादा घुल मिल जाते हो because there are certain commonalities. But that also works as an icebreaker. So with some clients you have a better rapport because maybe age same होती है या ज़्यादा clarity होती है. So there is no favorite client. But there are clients जिनके साथ you have a better rapport and where you enjoy sessions. But then when it comes to the progress of a client, the therapist makes sure that the person is aware, they are aware, and there is no bias that is coming in. So I hope that answers your question. Next
Yes.
question. So हम TV shows और Netflix हर जगह ये देखते हैं, जो भी therapist का एक portrayal दिखाया है, that they have this pen and notebook. वो लिखते क्या है?
Very good question, I would say. So एक तो सबसे पहले कि हम लिख क्या रहे होते हैं, that is something that I will answer. बहुत इन्फॉर्मेशंस होती हैं जो हम जब एक ट्रीटमेंट प्लान बना रहे होते हैं, हमें ज़रूरत होती है फैमिली हिस्ट्री क्या है, कोई पहले कोई साइकियाट्रिक अगर ट्रीटमेंट ली है या नहीं ली है, कुछ ईयर्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, कुछ दवाइयाँ अगर ली हैं, तो एट टाइम्स दे आर फैक्ट्स, दे आर ऑब्जेक्टिव फैक्ट्स दैट वी आर सपोज टू राइट डाउन. क्योंकि अगर हम देखें कि 50 मिनट का सेशन है तो ऑब्वियसली ह्यूमन मेमोरी भी भूल जाते हैं, तो दैट इज वाई इट इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू जॉट थिंग्स डाउन. बट ऑल्सो ये करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए इज ऑल्सो वन क्वेश्चन. what I have observed in my clinical experience अभी तक is that कि जब मैं लिख रही होती हूँ ना, तो मेरा client जो होता है, they feel very suspicious, they feel कि इसमें चल क्या रहा है, and जो normal natural flow of conversation है ना, वो break होता है when I'm writing things down. So I have tried कि मैं कम लिखूं, but then again sometimes it's very important to write things down also. तो तब तुम्हें jot down करना
I mean, mostly we are scribbling also.
Yeah, that is true. मैं इतना गंदी handwriting में लिखती हूँ ना, no one can read what I have written except me. So yes.
Very well answered. Next question.
Okay. Tell me one thing. Is humor appreciated in therapy?
In most of the therapy sessions, yes, because it helps you break the ice of the session. It helps you get into that conversation where the client is comfortable and I am comfortable as a therapist. But sometimes certain clients do not appreciate. So the trick is to see, observe, and if you feel that your client is using humor, then also make sure that the person also remembers if that humor is in a light mode, or it is done to lighten the mood, or it is being used rapidly and the client has humor as a coping mechanism. Because agar client ka humor is the only coping mechanism, so the therapist can maybe work on that. But if it's just in a very healthy space, then I think every therapist or psychologist does use humor.
Okay, thank you for answering this question.
Next
Moving to the
question.
next question.
So हमारी भी लाइफ में ऑब्वियसली बहुत सारी चीजें चल रही होती हैं, तो कभी कभार थेरेपिस्ट अपने इमोशंस कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाते, तो हाउ डू यू और एनी थेरेपिस्ट कंट्रोल देयर इमोशंस एंड पुश थ्रू देयर बैड डेज विदाउट द क्लाइंट नोइंग?
Okay, so सबसे पहले I would divide this question in few parts. Number one, is it important कि client को नहीं पता लग रहा है कि we are also having bad days? I think we can tell them, but again, it should not be that evident कि client would also feel कि मैं therapy में आया हूँ and the therapist is like that also. But again, yes, it is completely normal. Like before being therapists, we are humans. We have emotions. We have lives beyond the therapy session also. So बहुत बार होता है कि हमारी लाइफ्स में चीजें ठीक नहीं चल रही हैं. So what I do is that अगर मेरे से नहीं मैनेज हो रहा है, I would not take the sessions. I would request my client कि can we please push it, and I would give a very valid reason. I will tell them that I am not feeling okay. Is it okay if we can have the session some other time? So that is one thing. Another thing is that to process these emotions, and if you are someone who is working in fields like trauma, and you're dealing with rape victims, it's very heavy on you. So I think therapists should, and they go also to seek therapy, because unloading all these emotions is also very important.
True. I think very deeply answered, and I got it.
Okay, so my question. सो बहुत बार हमारे साथ भी होता है जब हम लोग क्लिनिकल सेटअप में जाते हैं, तुमने क्या पहना है, क्या नहीं पहना है. बहुत बार हुआ है, हम सबके साथ हुआ है. फर्स्ट इंटर्नशिप में हम सब ने एक बार तो ड्रेसिंग
डांट
सेंस पे खाई है. सो डू यू थिंक ड्रेसिंग एंड हाउ डू अ थेरेपिस्ट ड्रेस इज इम्पोर्टेंट?
Okay, so technically हाँ एक ऐसा stereotype है कि therapists wear these cardigans and all, makes me remember Taylor Swift. But I think mostly in most therapy sessions people and therapists wear business casuals, or even business formals as well. But I think times have changed after COVID, because COVID में most of the time online therapy काफी लोग जा रहे थे. तो उस टाइम पे ऊपर से तो ठीक होता था, बट नीचे we were in pajamas and lowers only. But I also feel कि in a country like India and in our culture, whether we can wear saris, we can wear kurtis, we can wear comfortable clothes, but yes, it should look professional and presentable, because again that is a professional setting, and you have to make sure that the setting is professional enough where the client also knows कि अच्छा it's not कि तुम बस एक दोस्त से मिलने जा रहे हो and you're venting and everything, but it should be like कि हाँ it's a professional space and therapist is the therapist. So yeah,
Very rightly put, Chetna.
thanks. So next question, what if a client ghosts you? You reach out to them or you let them go?
Obviously, because they are somebody we deeply care about, so we will send a check-in mail, or if we are connected on WhatsApp, because I have seen a lot of therapists are now very okay with connecting to clients on WhatsApp also. So you drop a text ki are you okay, just asking about their whereabouts, that is everything okay. But I think at the end of the day, it's their journey. You cannot force therapy on somebody.
True.
So you'll have to let them go. But as a therapist, the only aim that we have is to just make sure that they are doing all right and they are just safe.
They're in a safe space.
Okay, my question, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very famous also. So you must have read this LinkedIn पे, and a lot of posts are there. So as a therapist, tell me this कि ये बहुत बार पूछा जाता है कि whether we should open our door while a session is taking place, or we should keep it closed. What are your views on it?
आई थिंक जितना डिबेट मैंने सुना है, सबके बहुत ही ना डिफरेंट व्यूज हैं इस पे. सम पीपल प्रेफर दैट डोर्स आर क्लोज, सम पीपल प्रेफर दैट डोर्स आर ओपन. आई थिंक इट रियली डिपेंड्स ऑन द थेरेपिस्ट एक्सपीरियंस एज वेल. सो आई विल जस्ट गिव एन एग्जांपल. आई वाज वर्किंग इन सफदरजंग. वहां पे देयर वाज अ पेशेंट who had issues with anger management. So उस time पे if I am working and I have had an experience जहाँ पे the person tried to harm me when the person was having those symptoms or was in that zone, I would say. So ऑब्वियसली अगर मैं वो चीज एक्सपीरियंस करके आ रही हूँ, तो नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर मैं थेरेपी जाऊंगी तो मेरा पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस उस चीज को इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा. तो आई वुड मेक श्योर कि अच्छा मैं थोड़ा सा डोर ओपन कर रही हूँ. बट एट द सेम टाइम आई फील a lot of clients want की privacy हो. तो most of the therapists they do keep the door closed. But when we know, especially in clinical settings and clinical psychologists, जब client has a severe tendency to maybe do something or harm, because हमें बताया भी जाता है, हमें सिखाया भी जाता है कि when it comes to safety always protect yourself. तो in such cases I think leaving the door open, sitting, ये भी बोला जाता है कि you should sit towards the door, because I think it's important, because it is a profession, so we also have to take care of ourselves. So there's personal responsibility as well, but then again there's social responsibility as well.
Thank you for answering this for us.
Okay, your question. So, it is said that you cannot take a client जिसके साथ तुम्हारी ऐसे पुरानी relationship होती है, like you cannot give therapy to your friends or some immediate family members or even थोड़े बहुत दूर दूर के भी. तो ऐसा क्यों बोला जाता है? Why? India wants to know.
The nation
wants to know.
बिल्कुल हम केबीसी और उसका वो कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, I am also like speaking ऐसे rapidly.
हाँ, अभी श्वेता ने मुझे ऐसे बोला. So your next question is
yes
7 करोड़ रुपए के लिए
7 करोड़.
So with answering your question, मैं भूल गई question.
अगर किसी मतलब ऐसा क्यों बोला जाता है that the client cannot, the therapist cannot have a prior relationship.
got it. हाँ. So I think कि ना when जैसे मेरे दोस्त हैं, ठीक है, या मेरे कोई फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं, तो बहुत ओवरलैपिंग चीजें हो जाती है जो in a therapy is a very neutral environment. So if I know somebody, I have my judgments about them. I already know how they react, like how would they do. So I don't think one should take people they know as clients, because you won't be able to do justice to therapy, because you won't be able to provide the neutral space as much as you try. And I think लोग conscious भी हो जाते हैं. जैसे if a friend of yours is seeking therapy from me, so they would also feel like oh ये तो जाके चेतना को बताएगी.
So एक तो we are such close in that.
हाँ कि ये तो बताएगी चेतना को जब. तो ये बहुत ओवरलैपिंग चीजें हो जाती हैं. सो अ लॉट ऑफ बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ थेरेपी लाइक कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी and things like these that are the core principles, they are getting impacted, and that just fails the purpose of therapy, I feel.
That is true.
Okay, so my question to you is this only, ki how do you deal with this, ki if you have a personal bias towards a client, because over the sessions ये develop होने लगते हैं, because again we are humans, judgments form होती हैं, personal biases आते हैं, you also have your own experiences. How do you navigate with such experiences?
So very valid point. होता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि you can always not let your personal biases come. तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि as a therapist first you have to be very very aware. मतलब you have to train yourself. बोलते हैं ना, over a period of time, a newbie therapist might make that mistake, but at the same time over a period of some sessions or different clients, you learn that you don't have to show your personal biases. I've seen therapists who had issues with infidelity referring their clients to other person. तो मतलब एक ये चीज भी हो सकता है कि if you know कि तुम्हारा personal bias और तुम्हारा experience इतना strong है कि वो पक्का affect करेगा ही करेगा session को, and you cannot be in that space, तो you refer your client. But कई बार ऐसा होता है कि it is manageable, it is like the therapist is able to handle it. तब the therapist can be aware, and जहाँ उन्हें लगता है कि personal bias आ रहा है, they take a step back, they reflect. And I think ये वाली चीजें सबसे ज्यादा हम discuss करते हैं supervision में. A therapist, like those people who don't know, therapist, obviously even experienced therapists, sometimes we also as therapists get stuck, and at that time we also take supervision or like take advice or suggestions or recommendations on our case from a senior clinical psychologist, obviously without disclosing the details that much. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
7 crore. Okay,
QR code भेज दो.
So your question and the final question of
it is the final. We covered almost 10 questions.
Very good. It was a rapid fire.
Yeah.
So is it okay to share your personal experiences with the client? And if yes, no, how do you think the client would react to it?
Okay, so in therapy we call it people who know and don't know, self-disclosure. कि हम as therapist कितना disclose कर सकते हैं और कितना हमें करना चाहिए. This is by the way a very good question, because when I started taking sessions, I also was not, क्योंकि बहुत बार ऐसा लग रहा था कि अच्छा बात ही तो कर रहे हैं. Then I realized कि I am revealing too much too soon. I think self-disclosure is something which is a good practice, and every therapist does in like
certain
हाँ
session
कि हो ही जाता है सेल्फ डिस्क्लोजर, बट आई वुड से कि कई सेशंस बाद होना चाहिए. यू शुड नो कि कितने कितना टाइम हो चुका है कि नाउ यू ऑल्सो कैन start doing it. And also there's a very thin line between it कि ना ज़्यादा ना
ना
कम
कम.
वाली बात है. You cannot be sharing too much about it. Like one of my friends, she also started taking sessions, so she was saying कि मेरी client जो है वो मेरे से इतनी similar है कि कभी कभी मेरा मन करता है कि आज bestie मैं उसको बोल दूँ कि ये तो मेरे साथ हो रहा है, but you cannot do that also.
That is true.
हाँ.
That is true.
So that is my final answer.
Yay. Amazing. I think we covered this whole thing properly and like in crisp and
हाँ.
short as well, so that
That was
everyone,
the aim of the
that was the aim of the episode. We wanted it to be short, crisp, to the point, and I think we
did
achieved that.
Good job.
Yeah. So with this episode, before ending the episode, we want to say that of course therapy is something which is completely subjective. आपको लेनी है, आप obviously encourage, मतलब we always encourage because we are from the field, and I think therapy does help, right? So if you are someone who's struggling, if you are someone who's not struggling but who would want to explore कि therapy होती क्या है, उससे क्या होता है, मतलब मैं अच्छा person बनूंगा या क्या होगा, तो you can seek therapy. And we have also been providing therapy services. We have a
team of counselors with us, so if you want to seek therapy, you can reach out to us, or you can follow that this is psychologist. If you don't know, that is another venture that we run. So we're gonna attach links for the forms
in
that
the description and
में
everything.
The links you can the form जो आप लोग भर
client
सकते
intake
हैं.
form.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very simple form. And also know that the psychologists that we have, they are credible, authentic. जो Instagram पे हर कोई psychologist बनता फिरता है, ऐसा नहीं है.
They are,
we want to create an authentic space, and that's,
they are qualified, they have been practicing for a long time, and
absolutely
some of them are very inspiring also. I just see them working and I'm like, oh, that's really nice. So I think we'll just wrap this up by saying that thank you so much for watching this, and please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Bye.